I want to see the facts in the case pan out in a court case. However, there has been an arrest made, and the suspect is a Luigi Mangione. I'm going to get to the story in more detail later in the show. I just want to put this out first. So the second I see this guy's face in that infamous picture of him in the back of the cab, this suspect now, Luigi Mangione, folks, I said to myself days ago, gosh, this guy really looks familiar. And I'm thinking to myself, I could not make the connection because it wasn't like it looked familiar, like it was like it looked like your brother or sister or someone where you'd recognize the face right away. But the face just looked so familiar to me. And I'm thinking, what the hell is going on? So long story short, yesterday I recognized the last name, Mangione, and I thought, there's no relation to the Mangione family up in the Baltimore kind of area of Maryland. And it turns out that there was. So this statement was put out. I'll get to who they are here in a second. You'll see the connection. The Mangione family on Luigi Mangione. Unfortunately, we can't comment on news reports regarding Luigi. We only know what we've read in the media. The family's shocked and devastated by Luigi's arrest. We're devastated by the news. The Mangione family, and they offer prayers for Brian Thompson. Folks, I got my start in radio. You have to be like the P1 of P1s to know this. I got my start in radio at a radio station in Baltimore. Not Baltimore City, Baltimore County. The radio station was owned by the Mangione family. And Nino Mangione, who's now a delegate in Maryland, who, by the way, is a wonderful, amazing guy. He has absolutely nothing to do. He's a Republican state delegate. He is a patriot. I cannot attest in any greater way to this man's character. He is a genuinely good and decent human being. But I've known Nino a long time. I basically worked up, I wasn't a full-time employee, but I was kind of like their regular guest host. That's how I got my start in radio. I've known Nino forever. And obviously they're cousins. And if they looked, and they look alike. And I was so shocked by it on the air because this thing got personal really fast. To the Mangione family, to the Thompson family, this is just an unspeakable, unimaginable tragedy. But the Mangione family's been going through a lot. They obviously have nothing at all to do with this. And there are a lot of people harassing them now. And it really is disgusting. But I'm sorry, folks, but this is just the story. It took a real personal turn for me. I'm going to get to more of it later. It is a big news story. But a lot happened yesterday. We had the Daniel Penny case verdict come down as well. Let me just throw out in advance because the bottom line up front matters. Folks, this was not justice. I've heard a couple people, and I'd love to hear how you feel in the chat on this. I think a lot of you are going to agree with me. I heard a lot of legal analysts on cable news channels, Fox and elsewhere, and they were saying, oh, well, the system worked and, justice, he got off. The system didn't work. I'm really sorry. I don't mean to be a jerk about it. I'm not trying to be a tool or a devil's advocate for no good reason. But how is the system working? This is the kind of case where I genuinely believe if it was in my county in Florida, where your right to defend yourself against a serious physical injury or death, right? The guy was threatening to kill people. He said someone is going to die. If this was my county in Florida, you're not only not arrested, the cops come up, hey, man, thanks for defending yourself and your neighbors against this threat. The key part of the court case with the Daniel Penny case, the subway, of course, we're talking about the subway incident with Jordan Neely, is when the prosecutor asks Daniel Penny, or the defense asks him, at what point did you think your life was in danger? And he says, when Jordan Neely said someone's going to die today. Like, what else do you need to hear? This was not justice. Yeah, who just said that? Dobie One Kenobi. Well, you must be friends with Gee. Dobie One Kenobi said there shouldn't have been a trial at all. Ladies and gentlemen, justice delayed is justice denied. I hate cliches and tropes, but it's true. Justice delayed is not justice. You've taken away time, money, You've taken away this guy's life. You've taken his, his money, his sanity, like everything. The process is the punishment. This isn't justice. Now, thank the Lord, and I'm not using his name in vain, that Penny, when he was subjected to this ridiculous freaking show trial for defending people on that train who thanked him, by the way, thankfully, he was acquitted. He was not declared innocent, by the way. The language matters. There's no such thing as innocent. He was declared not guilty. Those are not the same thing. That's liberal terminology. He wasn't innocent. Nobody's innocent, dumbass. Innocent. What are you talking about innocent? He's not guilty. There's a difference. Here was Daniel Penny in a local bar afterwards celebrating. And of course, the hustlers are the race hustlers are already trying to start a race riot over this thing. But I'm going to tell you what the difference between now and the George Floyd situation was. Obviously, the circumstances are completely, entirely different, 180 degrees. But there's a difference now in the political environment, too. But watch Daniel Penny first. Check this out.
How you feeling?
Great.
Yeah.
He's feeling good. He's feeling good. He's feeling good.
What's up?
We're
Come together.
Bad.
How's it going? How's it feel?
Feels great. He's finally got the justice he's deserved.
Now, again, he finally got the justice he deserved, but justice delayed is justice denied. Let me throw another curveball at you here. He's now subject to a civil trial as well. He could lose that civil trial. Remember, the standard of guilt in a criminal trial is beyond a reasonable doubt. The standard in a civil trial is not beyond the reasonable doubt. It's preponderance of evidence. Therefore, jurors in these civil trials and judges are intimately familiar with the fact that the penalty is not you going to jail. The penalty is a financial one. And given that it's only the weight of the evidence, preponderance of the evidence, in a civil trial, you're far more likely to lose. In other words, folks, this guy could still get bankrupted for doing nothing more than defending a bunch of people on a train against the guy who said someone's going to get killed, someone's going to die. This man should have been celebrated as a hero. Here's Hawk Newsom, the guy I brought up yesterday. I mean, nothing but a cheap, carnival barking, asshole, life loser, chump, and coward. I'm calling you that. Hawk, to your face right now through this screen. You're a chump and a coward. You've always been. I've seen guys like you my entire life. You're a chump. Hawk Newsom is a grifter loser. This is one of the co-founders of BLM. He is desperate to agitate a racial issue around the case, although there isn't one. There were black men helping Daniel Penny restrain Jordan Neely. Here's Hawk Newsom yesterday. I don't understand how this guy doesn't get arrested for this stuff. I mean, if this isn't close to incitement, I don't know what is. And at some point, he appeared to imply like a threat towards Daniel Penny, too. Watch this.
Like everybody else has vigilantes, we need some black vigilantes.
That's right.
People want to jump up and choke us and kill us for being loud. How about we do the same when they attempt to oppress us?
Right.
I'm tired.
Tired.
I know you're looking for us to be like, oh, go and march. Go and march. No. This weekend, I want you to hold a community event everywhere from the Bronx to Houston to Seattle to Florida. Black people, whole community event and talk about what you need.
Bro, shut your mouth. You're punk. You're a punk. Just shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. You're a piece of shit. You always have been. You're a grifter and a loser with no life skills. Go get a job, loser. Get a job. This has nothing to do with race. You're a two-bit hustler trying to gin up some racial agitation so you can profit off it. You're a piece of shit. You know exactly what you're doing. Let me quote him. People want to jump up and choke us. Who the hell is jumping up and choking us? Here's an easy way to avoid getting restrained that led to an incident like this. don't go in a train car and tell people someone's going to die. Hawk, dumbass. There's an easy way, dumbass, to avoid us people popping up as if it was a random guy who just picked this guy out of, hey, let's choke a guy out. Folks, I am so sick of these bullshit agitators and people afraid to call them out. You understand this. It doesn't matter what you say. Asshole commie scum on the left are going to call you a racist no matter what. It doesn't matter that it's not true. Just eliminate it from the diet. It doesn't matter. They are going to call you a racist no matter what. That's why people are afraid to call this asshole out. Oh my gosh, I don't want to be called a racist. They're going to call you one anyway. They call everybody a racist. It's how they make money. It's the grift. And then we get into testimonials. Oh, the racist, I've got to... Stop. Just ignore it. And condemn this asshole for what he is. A chump and a punk and a zero. There's too many cowards, folks, in the political movement on the swampy right. Oh, just let them talk. You know, we don't want to be called a racist. Bullshit. You heard what he said. Making it up like people are just randomly choking out black men in the street. Do you understand? This is what leads to this mass perception of violent systemic racism around that's causing the division in our society. Why will we never heal as a society, whatever trope you want to throw out there? Because a-holes like this guy don't want you to. Folks, don't hold your breath, by the way, waiting for the commie left to condemn this piece of garbage. Don't, because it's never going to happen. They love the agitation. They love it. Here's MSNBC yesterday, making one of the dumbest comparisons you will ever see on cable news. And given MSNBC and CNN's history, that's saying a lot. Comparing this case of Daniel Penny, a hero, a guy who should be given one of these presidential medals at the White House the second Trump gets in there. That's what I would do. A hero who defended people's lives when other people would have sat on their ass and let this guy punch another woman in the face or something. You see this guy's arrest history? Here's MSNBC comparing this case to OJ. Yeah, to OJ. Watch this.
The breaking news here, Daniel Penny found not guilty. But Lisa, we also know that Jordan Neely's family had filed, I believe, a civil suit in this case as well. Does the verdict in this case impact that? Not necessarily. I mean, the law is rife with examples of people who are acquitted in criminal cases and yet find justice with respect to civil accountability. I think the best example of that is with respect to Ron Goldman being the man who was murdered alongside Nicole Brown Simpson. Even though O.J. Simpson was never found criminally guilty for those two murders, Fred Goldman, the father, along with his daughter, then sued O.J. Simpson civilly and won a fairly large verdict.
Folks, division, divide, and conquer is the game. It's the only recipe they have in the playbook. And of course, the media is going to pour gallons of gasoline on this fire because this is what they do. Here's the AP. Breaking. Daniel Penny, the veteran who used the chokehold on subway rider Jordan Neely, has been acquitted in Neely's death. Subway rider. Leaving out the fact that the man with an extensive criminal history was talking about someone dying on the train car. These people profit off of racial agitation, folks. And I'm telling you right now, this show has absolutely no time for it. We're the media now, and it's going to stop here. We're going to put a period at the end of these freaking sentences. We're not going to let it happen. I want to move on back to this Bongino case in a minute because this United Healthcare CEO case, folks, this is really dangerous stuff. In addition to people like Hawk Newsom, coward, chump, loser, and the media stoking the flames here and trying to cause division, they are doing the same thing with the Bongino case, unbelievably trying to make a hero out of a guy, a suspect at this point, who shot a guy and murdered him in the middle of the street. But they're leaving out completely completely the leftists out of the narrative. Well, the healthcare system's broke. You broke it, assholes. And now there's a murder over it? And what? You're blaming the healthcare executives over it? I thought you were fixing healthcare with Obamacare. Now it's led to a murder. And you wipe your hands of it? No, not here. Wait till you see these little receipts coming up. Take a quick break. We'll get back to the story of the Mangiones. Again, this thing got personal for me real quick. Folks, open an IRA in gold with Birch Gold, and you can get free silver shipped directly to your home. That's right. It's the most wonderful time of the year. The only time of the year that Birch Gold gives away a free 1-ounce silver eagle for every $5,000 purchased. And here's the best part. You don't have to pay a penny out of pocket. Simply convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold, and Birch Gold will send you free silver coins directly to your home. Now, you're probably thinking, why do I need to diversify into gold? My guy's headed to D.C. Things are good. Well, here are the facts. An administration trying to reverse a $35 trillion national debt in just 4 years, it's like a little mouse trying to stop a freight train. We can't even afford to pay the interest on the debt, let alone the principal. So take action now. Text Dan to 989898 before December 18th for a free info kit on gold and to claim your eligibility for free silver on qualifying purchases from Birch Gold. Do this before December 18th. Again, text Dan to 989898 for peace of mind that lasts longer than 4 years. Thank you, Birch Gold. Message and data rates apply. Again, if you missed the radio show, you saw this thing got personal real quick. I did not know I was going to know a family member of the suspect in the healthcare killer case. Folks, when I grew up in New York, there was a guy who was a pretty good reporter locally. He works at CNN right now, which is probably not the best thing to put on your resume. However, the reason I'm playing this clip from CNN is this guy, John Miller. I feel like I've known this guy forever. He was at NBC, the local NBC affiliate in New York. So if you grew up in New York City, this guy covered the mob. He covered the commission trial. He covered everything. Long story short is he's on CNN, but he's pretty good with this crime stuff. Here's a segment on CNN that, again, points to the fact that I told you last week. The reason I applied the Bongino rule to this story, this was clearly not a professional assassin, folks. Professional assassins don't want to get caught. They don't leave messages. The message is the dead body. And they don't go to a McDonald's in Altoona if you're a professional assassin and with the actual, suspected murder weapon and a fake driver's license you use to check in. I'm not giving anybody bad guy tips. I think it's fairly obvious. You get rid of the evidence. You don't keep it on you. This was not a professional hit. There's something going on here, folks. There's a bigger story. Listen to Miller on CNN with the details of this, how this guy got caught. And think in your head, why didn't he discard the evidence? Check this out.
So, Dana, this starts as a very routine day in a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania, which has like 3 McDonald's. But an employee there looks at this person and has been seeing on CNN and everywhere else these photos from the NYPD of this masked person with the hood where they're saying, look beyond New York, because we think the person has left the city. And she believes that this person resembles the photos that have been put out. She calls 911, gets the Altoona PD. They respond to the McDonald's. They engage this individual. And as they get him to identify himself and look through things, they find a gun, they find a silencer, they find multiple false IDs. And when they begin to compare those notes with the police in New York, they find out that one of those IDs matches the name, perhaps even the one we're looking at, that he used a fake New Jersey driver's license to check into that hostel in Upper Manhattan. So along with all of that, there are some documents that the police said seem to be relevant to this case. I think we would stop short right now because we don't have enough information of calling that a manifesto, but we are told by investigators they believe he's carrying documents that may relate to motive.
Folks, there's something not right about this case. There's something not right about every case, so I don't want to be overly dramatic, having done criminal investigative work for most of my young adult life. But it's almost as if the guy took pains not to get caught, only to take pains later to get caught. Is it some kind of mental breakdown issue? I don't know. But the suspect in the case, to use a 3D printed firearm, a suppressor, and then to exit the crime scene and then be discovered with the fake ID you used to check into a hostel, along with the firearm and the suppressor, it doesn't make any sense. Now, one thing a couple people have said to me is, how do you think that the McDonald's employee recognized this guy, given that some of the pictures are surfaced and you can barely see his face? He's only moving the mask to drink something. Folks, I think the mask, ironically, it sounds kind of backwards, but the face mask is probably what elicited suspicion. Because if this was done during COVID when everybody was wearing face masks, I don't think it would be that big of a deal. However, you still see people wearing them, but not that often. My point is, like, that may have actually drawn attention to him, and someone may have said, my gosh, that's kind of weird. That looks a little bit like that guy, and pulled up the picture. You got to remember, this isn't 50 years ago where someone's got to go to a police station and pull a be on the lookout for sign down. All you got to do is pull up X Twitter, right, and pull up United Healthcare CEO suspect. And you look in while the guy's right in front of you. So I wouldn't put too much weight into that. But there's definitely something going on here that's really strange. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's a connection, if later on it turns out that there's some kind of, maybe a third party involved. I wouldn't be stunned, is what I'm talking about. Maybe an enabler or someone else. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not telling you that that's a fact, that you should take it to the bank and cash the check. Just this case seems really off. It seems to me like a lot of pains were taken to not get caught, only to take pains later to get caught. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Now, this healthcare case, this United Healthcare CEO, the liberal narrative on this thing is disgusting, immoral, evil, demonic, and unethical. We don't shoot people dead in the middle of the street because we don't like their business decisions. Ladies and gentlemen, I've got beefs with a lot of companies. I engaged in a construction project recently. It didn't go as planned. I promise you, at no point ever for a microsecond did I think, maybe I should get a suppressor and murder a guy in the middle of the street. That did not come up. Not a potential solution to the problem. We don't do that. I don't think anybody needs a lecture. But what I find really odd about this case is the left making a hero out of this suspect in the case is they're avoiding the fact that it's the left that took over healthcare under Obama and told us this would fix all the healthcare problems. Now the healthcare system is even worse, to the point where they're shooting people and murdering them in the streets. And the left is acting like they have no skin in this game at all. You got to read this article by Alyssa Finley. I cited it yesterday, but didn't get into the details. It's called The United Healthcare Case and the Obamacare Con. I thought Obamacare was going to fix all this. Left is like, healthcare sucks. We got to start shooting people in the street. Really? A Gallup survey released Friday affirms the sentiment, finding only 44% of Americans rate U.S. healthcare as good or excellent, down from 62% when Democrats passed Obamacare in 2010. Wait, leave this up. So just to be clear, left-wing assholes who want to murder people in the street over healthcare, since you dipshits took over healthcare in 2010, people who think healthcare is good or excellent dropped by almost 20 points? A mere 28% rate the country's insurance coverage highly, an 11-point decline. Obamacare may rank as the biggest political bait and switch in history. Here, remember Barack Obama's promise? If you like your healthcare plan, you could keep your doctor in your healthcare plan. Sorry. How about his claim that people with pre-existing conditions would be protected? That's not true. Here's the biggest howler. Healthcare would become more affordable. Really? Throw the next one up. Healthcare is more affordable? The U.S. is now spending $2 trillion more on healthcare than in 2010. $2 trillion more. Dan, I thought Obamacare's more. We're paying $2 trillion more. Well, at least we're healthier, right, Justin? Justin says, no, Dan, read on. It's your clip. Yet Americans aren't healthier. A new paper by Paragon Health Institute observes that mortality rates from 25 to 64-year-olds from major medical causes climbed between 2009 and 2019, when basically Obamacare was passed. So just to be clear, left-wing dipshits We need to murder people in the street because healthcare sucks. It sucks because of you idiots. We're spending more money. We're not as healthy. Fewer people like their healthcare. And only 11% of people are satisfied with their insurance right now. Read the data. All since Obamacare passed. This is why I absolutely hate leftists. They go and they throw a shit grenade in the tent and then they complain it stinks in there. I am so sick of these assholes, and you should be too. You want to see the most disgusting clip? Taylor Lorenz, the biggest demon I have ever seen in the communist movement, and dumb as a box of rocks. Here's this demon piece of human garbage on the Piers Morgan show, again reiterating that she feels joy around the circumstances of the United Healthcare CEO murder. Joy. Check this out.
I do believe in the sanctity of life, and I think that's why I felt, along with so many other Americans, joy, unfortunately, because it feels like...
Serious?
I mean...
Joy at a man's execution?
Maybe not joy, but certainly not empathy. Because again,
we're watching the footage. How can this make you joyful? This guy's a husband, he's a father, and he's being gunned down in the middle of Manhattan. Why does that make you joyful?
Of Americans that be murdered. So are the tens of thousands of Americans, innocent Americans, who died because greedy health insurance executives like this one push policies of denying care to the most vulnerable people. And the many millions of Americans that have watched people that I care about suffer and in some cases die because of lack of health care.
So should they all be killed then? Should they all be killed, these healthcare executives? Would that make you even more joyful?
No, that would not.
But why not?
And,
why are you laughing?
I'm going to tell you something. It's a live show, but I'm afraid I'm going to say something really bad, and I really should kind of take a break a second. No, I mean it. I'm not trying to be silly, folks. This woman is a disgusting piece of human waste. No respectable human being should ever have this woman on the air or near their outlet ever again. Forget all of the politics of what I just told you. That scum like Taylor Lorenz pushing for things like Obamacare that destroyed a lot of these healthcare companies that then had to consolidate to stay alive because Obamacare destroyed it. Forget that for a second. If this guy was the worst demon on earth, and there are a lot of bad business people, folks, I've been screwed over by a lot of them. You can sue them. You have a court system. We have due process. We are a republic. This is not the guillotine in France, assholes on the left. I've got a lot of beefs with Joe Biden, politicians, business people, and everyone else. They don't deserve to be murdered in the street. You're watching the moral decay of America. This woman should never, ever be put in front of an audience again. She is dangerous. She is legitimately dangerous. And I absolutely believe by her own standards, this crying, whiny loser, that is an actual incitement to violence, providing any landing of that plane as if this was somehow not an evil demonic act, murdering someone in the middle of the street. Bullshit. All right, I got to move on. I've got big updates on these presidential appointments. These are huge. I don't want to get ahead of myself, and you shouldn't either, but I'm feeling like the Bongino Army, Cat Turd, Jack Posobiec, the Benny Johnson audience, War Room, the Bannon audience. This is the big MAGA family here. I feel like we are finally starting to turn the tide on this, and that these senators, these rhino senators holding up Hegseth, Patel, and Tulsi are getting the message that cutesy time's over, folks. We're not playing. And if you want to test us, I promise you, that's going to be an F for you and an A for us. Don't do it. I'll show you what I mean coming up. Hey, nothing delivers comfort and joy quite like the unrivaled quality and taste of Omaha Steaks. It's guaranteed perfection in every single bite. Right now, you can save on unforgettable gifts with 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, score an extra $30 off with promo code Bongino. It's a great deal. With 5 generations of experience, they consistently deliver the world's best steak experience. The gifting experts here made it really easy to deliver the perfect gift with thoughtfully curated gift packages featuring gourmet favorites. Paul and I send Omaha Steaks every year to family members and friends. We're stocking up ourselves because we love the food. For all the entertaining we have planned, we got a lot of big birthday on Friday. There'll be a lot of food consumed at the Bongino house, and we'll be ready. From their legendary steaks to their perfectly sized desserts, save 50%, 50 off site-wide for a limited time at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $30 off with promo code Bongino. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com, OMAHA, with an extra $30 off with promo code Bongino. Omaha Steaks. Minimum purchase may apply. Thank you, Omaha Steaks. And our last sponsor today, Flomentum. Listen, male listeners out there, how many times you're getting up in the middle of the night, you got to hit the bathroom. It's really annoying. It can affect your whole life. Studies show 50% of men will deal with an enlarged prostate due to BPH in their lives. Many treatments and medications out there for BPH have significant side effects too. You don't want to get into the side effects with a lot of this stuff. That's why check out Flomentum Urinary Support Supplement. It's pure saw palmetto extract. Check that out. Clinically proven to help reduce urinary frequency day and night, help improve prostate function, help fight BPH. Flomentum is the first and only USP-verified prostate health supplement. USP verifies purity, potency, and manufacturing to FDA current good manufacturing standards. Flomentum contains 320 milligrams of pure saw palmetto oil, comparable to leading herbal medicines sold in Europe with no prescription needed. Flomentum Health is offering my listeners 20% off with their first bottle of Flomentum Urinary Support plus free shipping. Just go to Flomentum.com today and enter the code Bongino. It's FLOMENTUM.com and enter code Bongino to get 20% off plus free shipping. FLOMENTUM.com. Enter code Bongino. These statements and products have not been evaluated by the FDA. They're not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, prevent any disease or condition. Try it out. Get a better night's sleep. Take my word for it. All right, back to the show. Presidential appointments updates, because this is huge. Ladies and gentlemen, what's policy? If you know the question, you know the answer. Policy's policy. No, it isn't. People are policy. People are policy. If you don't have the right people, it doesn't matter what the policy is. Joe Biden showed us that with the student loan forgiveness he was told not to do multiple times and a number of environmental things he did. Here's a quick clip of John Cornyn. John Cornyn is definitely on the rhino side of the spectrum. There's no doubt about that. He is a senator from Texas. However, he is a respected member of the Senate by his colleagues. So we need these guys to plus one. I don't get emotional about this, folks. You shouldn't either. We need their votes to get these people through. Here he is at least signaling that Kash Patel shouldn't have any problems getting through. We'll see. Keep the heat on. Don't back down for a second. But we got to listen to what these guys are saying. This is a short clip. Check this out.
Had a good meeting with Kash Patel, the president's nominee for FBI director. We still don't know what Director Wray's plans are, but eventually I assume that Mr. Patel will be confirmed as the next FBI director.
Again, folks, this guy's not one of these MAGA people. There's no doubt about it. However, I'd rather have this guy on board than not. Don't get emotional about it. Plus one, minus one. Think of it like a spreadsheet. Be transactional like Trump is, and you won't lose. You start getting emotional, then we start to lose the tactical edge. Folks, one of the worst things you can do in a fight or anywhere else, I spent a lot of time on the mats and whatever. Who cares? I'm not trying to pretend to be tough. Your kid sister could beat me up right now, my osteoarthritis. But one thing I'll tell you is you don't get emotional. The minute you start getting mad, you start to breathe heavy. Don't get emotional. Stay tactical. Aisha Hasni put out this tweet. She's at Fox. She knows really well about this. She puts out, Joni Ernst put out a statement on Hegseth. Joni Ernst has been a huge obstacle towards Pete Hegseth getting in there as the defense secretary. I don't know why Joni Ernst decided to entirely nuke her entire career. I have no idea, but I'm getting a little bit annoyed. She put out a statement, and you've got to parse the words. Everybody was celebrating. Oh, she supports Hegseth. That's not what she said. That's not what she said. Read the statement right here. She says, as I support Pete through the process, I look forward to a fair hearing based on truth, not anonymous sources. Folks, it's better than where she has been on it, but she is clearly hedging, and I would not be surprised if she tries to sabotage him through surrogates or somewhere else in the hearing. Joni Ernst this is one of these senators who, again, is getting emotional about this. I'm telling you, with this sense of pride, she cannot believe, and even Politico recognized it this morning, that a lot of these senators were stunned by the response of the MAGA-sphere. She is still convinced this is about her. She cannot get past her pride. Joni, here's a hint. Just come out and say you support Hegseth, and that's it. You don't have to put caveats as I support him throughout the process. There is still these little kind of buyer beware things she's doing. She's opening the door to sabotage him. Read between the lines on this stuff. And this is why Pete was on Sean Hannity's show last night. And the defense secretary nominee. This is exactly why people on the rhino end of the spectrum and the Democrats hate this guy. They want our military castrated and defenestrated. They want that. They don't want a lethal military. Because we have a lethal military, it'll establish again the preeminence of the United States. And a lot of these left-wing lunatics hate the United States. If you can't crush the military, you can't crush the country. Here's why they hate Pete Hegseth. This is probably the best 20 seconds you're going to hear from him about why this is the guy and the only guy. Check this out.
Well, there's a lot to be done. First of all, you salute the commander-in-chief who got those 76 million votes and is going to chart the way. And I'll give him advice and counsel along the way. I'll just say what he told me. Return the Pentagon to the warfighters, Pete. Get in there and clean out all the social justice, politically correct garbage on top and get back to lethality, warfighting, accountability, meritocracy, and readiness.
Listen, I don't like wasting your time at all. I don't. I've got an hour with you and then 3 hours on the radio. People are policy. You need to understand that. It's not a cliche. It is an axiomatic truth of politics. The policies don't matter. If you don't get the right people in there, the policy is irrelevant. Folks, there is a law on the books right now, Section 212F of the Immigration and Nationality Act, that gives Joe Biden the full authority to exclude any class of aliens for any reason out of the country for any length of time. Please, if you doubt me, if you're a liberal watching the show and you think I'm making this up, go look up Immigration Nationality Act, Section 212F. You can read it. The president can shut down the border right now. He doesn't want to. Well, he's got the policy, Dan. Policy isn't policy. People are policy. This is why we cannot fold for a second on Hegseth, on Gabbard, on Kash Patel. And this is why we need people like Stephen Miller, too. I want you to watch this video of Stephen Miller on Fox, and you'll see what I mean by people or policy. Stephen Miller is going to be one of the lead voices in the Trump administration with Tom Homan and others on moving border legislation quick. This guy understands the law, and he understands how to make the policy real, how to make it breathe, and not just a dead piece of parchment. People are policy. Do not fold. Hold the line on these nominees, no matter what. They're feeling the heat. Don't let down. Don't put any ice cubes on this thing. Check this out.
John Thune and Lindsey Graham have promised that they can get a full funding package for the border, the most significant border security investment in American history, which would be the biggest domestic policy win in at least 50 years, to the president's desk in January or early February. That would mean a massive increase in ICE officers working on the deportation operation that Tom Homan just laid out. That would mean a historic increase in border agents, a pay raise for both, full funding for military operations, full funding for ICE beds, full funding for air and marine operations, full funding for all of the barriers and technology that you need to ensure there's never another Godaway entering this country. Now, President Trump, regardless, on day one is going to issue a series of executive orders that seal the border shut and begin the largest deportation operation in American history. But you're talking about what would be the largest investment in immigration and border security. This is something the Republicans have been talking about for decades, but with Donald Trump, this is something that is going to happen. It will be the most important and significant, as I said, domestic policy achievement in half a century. Then the plan, as Senator Thune has laid out, as incoming Majority Leader Thune has laid out, would be to move immediately at that point. Now we're talking in January, early February, immediately to the comprehensive tax reform package.
Folks, we have 2 years. We got 4. No, we don't. We have 2 to the midterms. You have to think in 2-year cycles. The presidency is not 4 years. It's not? No, it isn't. It's 2-2-year terms, and that's not the same thing. Yeah, the math is the same. I get it. It is not. The president needs the House. The president needs the Senate. We have 2 years. The people he's got set up right now are there for success. There are very few nominees I disagree with. The one over at Labor, I'm not so sure I'm fully behind. However, the rest of his portfolio of nominees and the people or policy thing absolutely get what the next 2 years needs to look like, and they understand the way to pull the policy levers to get there. Here's why I'm really excited about the next 2 years. And forgive me, I forgot to mention this earlier, but there is a difference now. I think you guys are feeling it. In the chat, tell me if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, say, Dan, that I'm not getting it. Unlike 2016, where I think we really shocked them, they didn't see us coming at all in 2016. They were so shocked. A lot of them genuinely believed something had to have gone wrong. Some switch broke in the system. I don't know about you, but I'm sensing now they hate us. They're going to call us racists and Nazis. None of that's changed. I get that. Don't think I'm naive. I'm not. I understand. I get it. I'm vibing with you. But are you sensing that they get that they're not going to be able to pull the same tricks again? Is that making sense? I don't know, Justin. Am I like messing this up? I feel like the resist pink hat routine, like they exhausted that now. And that's why after yesterday's verdict, this is kind of tying together the beginning, you didn't see the response you would have typically seen. Because I think a lot of them are recognizing, like, we're going to have to take a different tact and game plan. The resist weaponization of government thing didn't work. The other game plan they're putting together could be worse. I'm not telling you these are good people. I'm just saying I do think we have a window here. Unlike the collusion window last time with the first 2 years, they did the collusion hoax, which bottled up the presidency. I think we've got 2 years here to do special things. And here's why I'm extra optimistic. Get ready for it. Trump is hip to the media this time. He always knew the media were the fake news. He's been calling them that since 2015. That's not new. But he's given so many interviews and back and forth right now that if you sense that he's getting really good at this now, watch. Here's what I mean. He's with Kristen Welker, who, by the way, again, I used to listen to Kristen Welker once in a while on NBC to get a perspective on what the left was thinking. This was not the craziest person on the left. She's totally gone off the deep end. She is now all in with the Rachel Maddow stuff. She cannot give an honest and fair interview. Here she is, but she's not stupid. Here she is doing the back and forth with Donald Trump, and Trump just completely beclowns her and eats her lunch right here because they're just not ready for Trump 2.0. Watch this.
Let me ask you this about January 6th.
I wish you could be you have such potential. If you could be just non-biased, you hurt yourself so badly. I'm telling you, they deleted and destroyed all the evidence. Everyone knows it. And you slough it off like it doesn't mean anything.
No, I'm just saying they deny it. That's all I'm saying.
Kristen, if I did it, you would be standing up in that chair shouting at me. And you know what I'd do? I'd say, you got me. They have done something so illegal. They have a committee sworn to, and because it was so bad, the only reason they did it is because the testimony turned out to be in favor of me.
These guys are just talking, the whole production crew over here. There's three of them sitting over there. And they were just saying the same thing that you and I were talking about here. We were just saying, like, you guys in the chat, you agree with me or not? Yes or no? That he's gotten so much better with the media now. You know, in the beginning, he was never a bad interview, but I don't know. Sometimes there was an entertainment factor to it that the tactical factor got lost. Is that kind of making sense? Yeah. Like it was kind of like you just said, like an acquired taste in the beginning. Like it was entertaining, but the tactical back and forth and some of the points would get lost. He's gotten really good right now at staying on point and issuing like a devastating counterpoint that comes out of nowhere. You know, what's the best punch in the world? The one you didn't see coming? They just don't see it coming. He's just gotten really good at this. Now, this is huge. I'm going to make a big announcement here too. Well, it's a big announcement contingent on them making a big announcement, if they make one. I want you to listen to this clip first. Because they understand that the press absolutely tanked and submarined their first administration with bullshit collusion hoax stuff, PP tape stuff, the Spygate thing. They get that now. These guys know cutesy time is over. Here's Caroline Leavitt. He's going to be his incoming press secretary after Spicer and Huckabee Sanders and Kayleigh. Caroline Leavitt is very good at her job. Caroline Leavitt is indicating now that they are going to divvy up the press room differently. Here's my big announcement. If the Trump team wants the biggest political live stream in the world, that's our show. If they want to give us a seat in the press room, I, number one, would be honored and would absolutely accept it. But I will hire someone next week. I will let everyone know I will hire a Dan Bongino show correspondent. Folks, we have a bigger audience than the Washington Post and the New York Times. It's totally up to the Trump team. It is not my call. I will take it. We will take that seat for the Dan Bongino show. You don't have to put us in the front row or anything like that, although we are bigger than most of these outlets, right? But the Bongino Army, would you not be honored to have a seat in the press room? I know I'd be. We will hire someone. Stataruski, man. I will hire someone. So we'll put him in there. Here's Caroline Leavitt saying, hey, man, status quo in the press room is over, so I'm down for this. This sounds great to me. Check this out.
Any plans to change the way the briefing room works?
Well, let me preface by saying that there has never been a more transparent president than Donald Trump. We saw that in his first term. He consistently called the press into the Oval Office when he was signing bills. He took questions from them directly. That's something the press, I know, is yearning for. They have not had that over the past 4 years. So their transparency and their access to the leader of the free world will be increased, and also to the press secretary as well. We will be holding briefings in that room. I think as far as the landscape of the briefing room, it needs to reflect the media habits of the American people in 2024, not in the 1980s. And President Trump won this election by utilizing non-traditional, non-legacy media voices outside the Beltway. That's clearly who the American people are listening to. That's how they're digesting their news. And I think it would be irresponsible of us not to include some of those voices in the briefing room.
I'm totally down. I am down. I will hire someone, and I could probably do it next week. I am down. Your call, not mine. It's your press room. You divvy it up as you see fit. I'm just saying, here's my humble opinion. Here's who I think should be in there. I think the War Room guys should get one. I think Crowder should get one. I'm just going on basically live stream audience and digital. I think the Daily Wire should get one. I don't want to leave anybody out. I think we should get one. I think Charlie Kirk's team should get one too. I mean, these are basically the guys with the biggest audiences. I mean, if you want to reach we're the media now, actual people through the media, then I'm sorry to say it, but that's where it is. That's where the audience is. You can also give other outlets, Breitbart, The Caller there. But if you want to reach digital audiences, that's where it's at right there. Those are the people who have the eyeballs and the earlobes. And that's thanks to you. You're the eyeballs and the earlobes, not me. I can only watch the show one time. Speaking of which, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about this. Guy, by the way, hates stories like this, but I think this one he'll give me a kind of a carve-out on because this is freaking weird. And it's even weirder because there's a family connection in here. Everybody's like, what is he talking about? Michael and Evita's mom and dad live in New Jersey. They live in New Jersey and actually got some video on one of these things themselves. Rachel from Fox, Rachel Campostuffy, and Sean, who is the transportation secretary nominee. They actually got video. These things. What things? What are you talking about? What is up with this drone thing in New Jersey, folks? This is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. For strict liability purposes alone, you would think someone would have come clean at this point. You get what I'm saying? Legally speaking, if one of these things kind of crashes on someone's house, you would think like one of these companies would at least tell the governor, Phil Murphy, who's a commie, but he's still the governor of New Jersey. So we'll have to put aside the communism for a second. You think this guy would know who these things are? He's the freaking governor. Now, he's either playing really stupid, which is possible, but I doubt here, or he genuinely doesn't know what the hell these truck-sized drones are doing hovering over sensitive locations in New Jersey. I want you to listen to this part. This is very, very important. Here's the governor of New Jersey who's either playing dumb or we got something really kind of big on our hands and no one wants to say what it is. Check this out.
These are apparently as I understand it, very sophisticated. The minute you get eyes on them, they go dark. And, we're obviously most concerned about sensitive targets and sensitive critical infrastructure. So we've got military assets, we've got utility assets, we've got the president-elect's one of his homes here. This is something we're taking deadly seriously. We've gotten good cooperation out of the feds, but we need more, and that was my plea.
Finally, how much longer do you think?
I don't know, but if we have news, I'll let you know. The minute we know something, I'm not going to hide it under a bushel.
Governor, you have people saying, I saw a drone and it was spraying something, or I saw a drone crash in my yard and it set off an alarm when I tried to go near it. There's a lot of fear amongst New Jersey residents. I mean, what is your message?
Well, the message I just gave. But by the way, we're not aware of any nefarious drone that has crashed, or if there is one that's crashed, could someone please call me and let me know where that is? There are a couple of rumored downings for one reason or another. One of them was a toy, the other one was never found. But having our hands on equipment that's on the ground would be helpful, no question about it.
Listen, was it Justin who said it? He does have a lot of experience playing dumb. So he could know, Occam's razor here, given all possible explanations. The simplest is he's a commie, so he's stupid. So maybe he just is dumb. I got to tell you, my first read on it, though, licking my finger, seeing where the wind's blowing. I'm not sure he's playing stupid. Now, I'm going to tell you something. In my last line of work, we obviously did security in the air as well. You do the bubble. You call it the protective bubble. Bubble meaning below, above and below. There's a lot of stuff I will not talk about for obvious reasons, but the air picture is really complicated. You've got things like an ADIZ, an Air Defense Identification Zone, a FRIZ, a flight restricted area, right? You've got things like the DEN, which is this, Defense Enforcement Network system. Folks, you can't just go and randomly and repeatedly fly shit in the air without somebody noticing. That this guy likely doesn't know, as the governor of New Jersey, what this is, I got to tell you, has me a little bit concerned. There's something not right about this story either. And I've waited. The Bongino rule applies. Wrestling, WWE with the Heat. I was watching a thing about Vince McMahon, how people couldn't stand the Mr. McMahon character because he brought the heat. Well, you bring the heat too. And they hate it. Big show for you today on Monday. Quick weekend update, not too much. For over 10 years, Patriot Mobile has been America's only Christian conservative wireless provider, standing behind their service and their values as a company. They're an example of putting the cause ahead of profits. That's why I'm proud to partner with them. Right now, you can get their Every Friday Matters special today. Patriot Mobile is giving away a brand new smartphone when you make the switch. Patriot Mobile offers exceptional nationwide coverage, giving you access to all three major networks without your dollars funding the left. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you're supporting a company that believes in free speech, religious freedom, the sanctity of life, the Second Amendment, and more good stuff. Their 100% U.S.-based customer service team makes switching easy. Keep your number, and for a limited time, get a free smartphone. Go to patriotmobile.com/Dan or call 972-PATRIOT and use promo code Friday. Again, that's a free smartphone. Offer is eligible only with the promo code Friday. It's a limited time offer until supplies run out. Terms and conditions apply. So join me and make the switch today. patriotmobile.com/Dan. That's patriotmobile.com/Dan or call 972-PATRIOT. We're back on Monday. Hit that bell. I needed to hear that. Thank you for tuning in to my Friday's producers picks. You guys are the best. You guys are loyal to the content no matter what. I so deeply appreciate it, man. Guys, the Bongino Army, you guys are awesome out there. So, quick weekend update. I went out Thursday night. It was birthday week. This week is the big party, though. The big 50th birthday party. Going to be the bash to end all bashes. So, if you miss next Monday, 7 days from now's update, you may miss the mother load of all weekend updates. I will have witnesses on the production team who figured out a little secret today, which I'm freaking annoyed. Justin's got to go being like freaking MacGyver over there, figuring stuff out. But the party's going to be bananas. Went out, played a little blackjack. Thank you, Hard Rock, Fort Lauderdale. You guys are awesome. It's always such a great place. It's right. And I had a really good blackjack. I was getting crushed the whole night. Of course, Paula wins because she never loses. It's the most amazing thing. The odds of gambling, like what's blackjack? Like 49.9%? Not Paula. It's 100%. She never loses. I'm losing like the whole night. I'm leave at the end of the night. So what do? I do what I always do. I just start throwing in big chunks of change and I win it all back and then some. This happens every time. Paula disappeared for like an hour. She didn't like the wine offering, so she went to a different bar, grabbed some different wine. She's gone for like an hour. It took her a while. The minute she leaves, I'm losing. She comes back, I start crushing it again. It's weird. Is it some feng shui stuff? I have no idea. But if we're living in a simulation, Paula's hacked the code. So good for you. Folks, they hate social media, okay? Politicians hate it that you can stay on top of them and tell the world what they're doing. Joni Ernst, the senator from Iowa, who is really, who was it? Was it Benny Johnson or something? I think it was Benny who said this weekend, and truer words have never been spoken, that he's never seen a politician completely atomize their entire career in 7 days like Joni Ernst. Joni Ernst has always been a squishy Republican, ironically out of Iowa, where Trump won by like 7,000 points, right? Remember that poll? Trump's going to lose Iowa by 13. Didn't happen. I think he won by, 7? So it's pretty much like a landslide in today's electoral politics. Joni Ernst is in a MAGA state. Make no mistake. And she has decided for some reason to nuclear explode her entire freaking career because she's got a bug up her ass for Pete Hegseth, who is universally loved in the MAGA audience because he gets it. He doesn't want wokeism in the military. He wants to focus on lethality, and he wants to ask the question that previous leaders of the Pentagon have not asked in the past when it came to every single foreign war. The question's what, folks? Folks in the chat. Why? Why are we doing this? They don't want that. The defense industry lobbyists, I'm not knocking them, I'm just saying this is what they do. They want us overseas everywhere. I don't want to be overseas everywhere. I don't want our kids coming back in body bags for shit we don't understand and can't figure out. This chaos in the Middle East this weekend is a perfect example. So Syria, everybody's celebrating Bashar al-Assad, who is a tier 1 scumbag, no doubt. The problem we don't understand is which asshole is a bigger asshole? Bashar al-Assad or the terrorist scumbags who have taken over Syria? So the reason I don't want to send our own people over there getting killed in these people and these wars to pick a better asshole is because we typically don't know who the better asshole is. Trump gets it. Here's Trump for Fox. He responds after rebels overtake Syria, ousting longtime dictator. He's like, Assad is gone. He's fled his country. But in another post later on, he says, listen, this isn't our fight. Now, you want to send some guys over there, secure some chemical weapons, blow them up so they don't wind up in Times Square? Fine. Getting involved in supporting, these CIA cutouts overseas to get another asshole in there, as Mike Benz says, to push some woke agenda in Syria. Folks, this stuff never works out. Who the hell is in charge of our government right now? Is anybody asking these questions? Joe Biden, folks, is completely checked out. Did you see Playbook this morning? Political Playbook, what's Playbook? Folks in the chat, you know it. Playbook is the Bible of the left. It is the political Bible of the left. They read it every morning, and they all repeat the talking points every single day, right? Playbook this morning is reporting that Democrats are increasingly frustrated because Joe Biden has completely tapped out and has apparently ceded the presidency at this point to Donald Trump, which, make no mistake, I'm a Trump supporter, is a really good thing for us. However, if something happens, folks, let's be straight. Donald Trump has no executive powers. He has political power. In other words, he can move the political winds by saying something, right? We all get that. But he has no executive power at all. He doesn't. That's just a fact. Joe Biden, sadly, is still sitting in the White House. So as an American citizen, you should be like, hey, man, we still are stuck with this guy for another month. What if something really bad happens? Who the hell's in charge? Again, I think it's a good... Oh, look at it. Pulled it up. Thank you. I didn't even put that in the rundown. But here's a quote. These are from Democrats, by the way, not from me. This is not a Dan Bongino quote. Joe Biden has effectively disappeared from the radar in the wake of the Democrats' bruising electoral laws. He's gone. He's gone. I am a Trump supporter. I don't want Joe Biden doing anything. However, I at least want a president, folks, who appears to be mentally there in case, God forbid, there's a huge emergency? This guy's completely tapped out. Who's in charge right now? Well, I got to tell you, if you were an alien from outer space watching from a distance what's going on planet Earth, this is France. I've been there a couple times, actually. I did a Secret Service mission over there. I've been exactly in that spot. It was the transportation guy, so doing the motorcade. And, oh, look, Joe Biden getting out of the car. Oh, that's not Joe Biden. Who is that, guys? I can't really see well. So you say, that's Trump. That's Trump. We can see the hair. We can see the hair. That is Donald Trump with the handshake. I love the handshake. The alpha handshake dominates the handshake every time. Poor Macron's got a cast on today. It's Donald Trump walking up the stairs at the palace there. Check him out, posing for pictures. Folks, who's the president right now? Who's the president? Here's Donald Trump greeting our Marines because he's a patriot. And he always makes sure, tell our servicemen and women, we love you. Look at these guys, man. Check it out. This is how it's done. Who's the commander-in-chief right now? Who is in charge of the country? Who is in charge? Folks, listen, there's change coming. And there's a lot of people really freaked out about it. That's why the Dems are panicking about Biden ceding any political power, because they understand one thing. Executive power right now lies with Joe Biden, correct? He's sitting in the Oval Office. We're not. Political power lies where? The answer is Donald J. Trump. The verdict is in. Donald Trump is dictating international politics, period. And that's why the Democrats are pissed. But who else is pissed? The old guard, swampy Republicans who've had millions of dollars of defense industry money thrown at them. They don't want to give it up. They want to fight in every single foreign war. You see John Bolton, Captain Mustache, is all pissed off this weekend that Tulsi Gabbard's up on Capitol Hill, who is the DNI nominee. Joni Ernst, Republican senator from Iowa, is still trying to sabotage Pete Hegseth. They're meeting at 2 o'clock today when I'm on the radio. So if she does not come out today and pledge her support for Pete Hegseth after the 2 o'clock Eastern time meeting, folks, I'm telling you, there's going to be political hell to pay. Everybody understand that? Be respectful. Stuart, thank you. Michael Smart. Stuart Thompson, the New York Times, because these SOB losers are always mischaracterizing what I'm saying. Be respectful when you reach out to them. I don't need to lecture anyone. You're all adults. However, they're dying to pigeonhole you into the leftist model of political violence, and we're not going to do it. Joni Ernst needs to politically suffer for that. Politically. No money, no more donors, no more volunteers, no more anything. And I'm telling you, let her know we will never forget, because we didn't. We still have a list of Congress people who did not support Jim Jordan when he was running for office and screwed us up when he was in the speaker's bid. We're never going to forget it. You can pretend we're going to forget it, but we're not. And we're the largest digital live stream. So you get on our bad side at your own peril. I don't need anything from you, Joni Ernst. You need it from us. You need our support. You volunteered your name to run for office, correct? Now you're screwing over our people. She puts out this bullshit tweet December 6th. Pete Hegseth and I will continue our constructive conversations as we move forward together in the process. We plan to meet again next week. That's today. At a minimum, we agree he deserves the opportunity to lay out his vision for our warfighters at a fair hearing. Yeah, you're damn right. And we better see an upvote from you at this fair hearing. I'm telling you right now, we are taking political names in this, and we are not going to forget. They don't want Pete because they don't want the old guard, and they don't want questions being asked, folks. That's why. They want to go bomb every country on earth, send your young men and women over to every country where there's a conflict because there's cash in it. Just follow the money. You don't think it's odd that this symbiotic venom-like creature, media people, lobbyists, defense industry lobbyists, this military complex that's never asked questions, left-wing goons and commies all hate Pete Hegseth? Folks, it's not about Pete. It's about the old guard getting tossed out, and they're still not ready for what's coming. If we fold on this, we're going to lose everything. Here's a tweet by Politico. Now apparently Pete's a problem because he's a Christian? Trump's pick to run the Pentagon has embraced an aggressive form of Christianity. What's an aggressive form of Christianity? I'm a Christian. I go to church. Michael, I've seen you in church. Is there an aggressive church and an unaggressive? Did I miss something? Last time I went to church, it's the same Bible. There's not like is there the aggressive Bible and the not aggressive? Because I must have missed that. I don't know where I must have missed that. Yes, Justin said it right. Not only forgiving your enemies, aggressively forgiving your enemies. That's a violent form of Christianity. Jesus on the cross with the thief next to him. I'll see you in heaven. Hey, I don't know, man. That sounds really horrible. This is what Politico thinks of you. This is all a freaking scam, folks. Here's NBC trying to sabotage Tulsi Gabbard along with Captain Mustache John Bolton. I thought they told us John Bolton was the Antichrist. Remember when they told us that? John Bolton was a Nazi, was a fascist, a warmonger. Just like Kamala Harris, who jumped right in bed with the Cheneys. Here's NBC taking the same position as John Bolton. 100 former national security officials alarmed at Tulsi Gabbard leading the intel community. Really? I wonder if any one of those are the 51 intelligence officials who signed that ridiculous Hunter Biden laptop letter. Any of the same names? There's some crossover over there, some cross-pollination? I'll bet there is. Folks, these people are screwing you over, and they don't want you asking questions. Here's this congressman, Mike Quigley. Watch this douche. Trump's cabinet picks are deeply unserious people. We need experts running this government, not sycophants. Okay, so I pulled some clips for you, Mike Quigley, who is, again, one of these inside swamp toolbox losers, total life loser with no human dignity at all. He wants experts because experts have really nailed it. I mean, they got the Afghanistan. No, they got the Syria. COVID. Definitely the shut. In public. Shit, man, we're running out of stuff. Definitely China. No. What's that? That's a good point. They at least figured out the basics of biology that there's two Shit. The experts, folks. We definitely need more experts. Justin found someone, though. He's like, at least this guy got it right. This guy's an expert. He even looks like one. He looks like who's the guy, folks in the chat, who's the guy from The Simpsons, Mr. The boss? Mr. Burns. This guy looks like Mr. Burns. Here is Jake Sullivan. This guy is a, quote, expert. Super smart, folks. This guy's a genius. He is Biden's national security advisor. Here is Jake Sullivan, who absolutely nails it. They predicted totally that the Middle East was going to blow up a few years ago and they were going to have to pay a lot of attention to what was going on. Thank God for experts. Here's that clip right here.
The Middle East region is quieter today than it has been in 2 decades. Now, challenges remain. Iran's nuclear weapons program, the tensions between Israelis and Palestinians. But the amount of time that I have to spend on crisis and conflict in the Middle East today compared to any of my predecessors going back to 9/11 is significantly reduced.
Come on, guys, get your shit together. That's not the clip. I'm talking about the clip where he called it. October 7th, Syria, Hezbollah, Hamas, Gaza, Egypt, all that. So that is the clip. That's the only one you could find. And Jake Sullivan, thank you, Mike. Put up Mike Quigley again. Mike, you are so right. We definitely need more, quote, experts running this government. I mean, an Ivy League grad with 2 Bronze Stars and combat experience. I mean, who wants a guy like that running a defense department? We definitely want Darth Vader with the COVID mask, Lloyd Austin, who Biden calls the black guy, or definitely Mr. Burns. But I'd actually rather Mr. Burns than Jake Sullivan. Dan, Mr. Burns there's a voice for Mr. Burns. Do they not look the same? Do they not look, Jake, Mr. Burns, do they not look the same? It's the same guy. Question. Have you ever seen Mr. Burns and Jake Sullivan in the same room? You have not. So you can't prove they're not the same person. This is the tyranny of, quote, experts. Folks, I'm going to show you a clip of Trump coming up in a minute. A guy undoubtedly Mike Quigley would define as not an expert. define him as a cretin, a Neanderthal, a moron. He's really stupid. Really? Then if we're so stupid, how is it that we keep beating you, the expert class, on everything? And I'm going to explain to you why, just quickly. Folks, I've always used the example of a baseball card. Friedrich Hayek and others have talked about the tyranny of experts for a long time. I'll get to that in a second. You guys, I'll get to it in a second. I'm going to show you this example of a baseball card, and you'll understand what I mean. Hey, you feeling the stress about your giving your family a memorable holiday? You are not alone. Prices remain higher than ever. A lot of us are maxing out credit cards. Now's the perfect time to take control of your finances, pay off that debt. If you're a homeowner, American Financing can help you unlock the equity in your home and start saving. Their customers are saving $800 a month on average. Just imagine what that could do for your family, $800 a month. Plus, if you act now, you could even delay 2 mortgage payments, giving you extra cash for the season. Wouldn't it be nice to start off the new year without that debt and those monthly minimum payments? Costs you nothing to find out how much you could save. The holidays will be here before you know it. So call one of their salary-based mortgage consultants today. American Financing. Call now. 888-994-7660. That's 888-994-7660. Or visit AmericanFinancing.net. It's a .net address, NMLS 122334, NMLSConsumerAccess.org. Thank you, American Financing. And our next sponsor, are you having trouble sleeping or staying asleep? Listen, I've been there. It's not just about feeling tired the next day. Poor sleep takes a really, really horrible toll on your life. Go research it yourself. There is hope on the horizon. It comes in the form of Beam's Dream Powder. They sent me something to try. Changed my life. See, when we're sleeping well, we're sharper, more focused, and ready to tackle whatever life throws our way. Other sleep aids cause that next day grogginess, but Dream contains a powerful all-natural blend of reishi, magnesium, L-theanine, apigenin, and melatonin to help you fall asleep, stay asleep, and wake up refreshed. Beam's Cyber Monday sale has been extended exclusively for Bongino listeners. Get up to 45% off when you visit shopbeam.com/Bongino and use code Bongino. It's your chance to finally try this game-changing product. Head on over to shopbeam.com/Bongino and use code Bongino for up to 45% off. That's shopbeam.com/Bongino. Use code Bongino for up to 45% off. Get a good night's sleep. Shopbeam.com/Bongino. Folks, I don't want to bore you to death, okay? And if you hate this, just tell me in the chat, STFU, we hate it. It sounds stupid, okay? This is why experts like Jake Sullivan suck and really should diffuse responsibility to other people. Did you ever notice how you go on and you watch these fantasy football shows and other things? These guys, all they do all day is study football to be analysts. That's all they do. They go in locker rooms, they talk to people, they study books, stats. And did you ever notice that the weekend shows, when they make predictions, that they're no better than just the average Joe? Did you ever notice that? I'll give you another example. I was just reading a report the other day. Billionaire hedge funds people, right? Experts, right? Just like the NFL analysts and the college football analysts, right? Their money's on the line. Billion-dollar hedge funds that make billions of dollars, billion-dollar hedge funds, off of beating the market, that they still can't beat regular exchange-traded ETFs where just the crowd buys in? How is that? How is it that experts can never seem to figure shit out? The answer is because expertise is an illusion, okay? It's an illusion. Nobody can predict the future. And the mistake of experts is they're typically cockier than you and believe they can, so they make dumb decisions like Jake Sullivan. You can have the greatest neurosurgeon in the world, folks. There is a damn good chance he has no idea how to change your oil. Why? He's really smart. He's an expert. Because he's never changed oil, and he has no idea. You ask 1,000 people, baseball experts, to price a baseball card in 10 years, I guarantee you they're no better than the crowd. Because they don't know shit. A baseball guy could fall into a drug habit tomorrow. They are never, experts are always, it's the fatal conceit. It's the conceit of knowledge. I'm not telling you knowledge is a bad thing. I'm just telling you that these people screw shit up constantly. And when you're a person like Pete Hegseth, who knows the limits of your own knowledge and doesn't try to change your oil, he's not going to break your car. Okay, you hated that. I get the point. It's really important you understand it, or you're never going to understand why a guy like Donald Trump continues to beat the experts. You saw Jake Sullivan, right? The Middle East is so quiet. This was right before the Middle East blew up. Here's Donald Trump in a weekend interview talking about what he did with NATO. Donald Trump doesn't pretend he doesn't know anything. Everybody's telling him, Donald, Mr. President, NATO's so valuable. It's done X and Y and Z and all this stuff. Donald Trump doesn't care. Donald Trump looks at the spreadsheet and goes, why are we paying over 2% of our GDP The NATO agreement is they're supposed to pay over 2% of their GDP to defend themselves, and we're defending them, and they don't want to pay up. He doesn't care about this other shit. He doesn't want to change your oil because he knows he'll break your car. He just wants to know who out there can change oil because it needs an oil change. Here's Donald Trump on NATO. Donald Trump, the non-expert who actually got the NATO problem right. Check this out.
NATO's taking advantage of us because we were, look, two things. Number one, they take advantage of us on trade, meaning the European nations, okay, like terrible. They don't take our cars. They don't take our food product. They don't take anything. It's a disgrace. And on top of that, we defend them. So it's a double whammy. So let me just tell you, I was able to get hundreds of billions of dollars put into NATO just by a tough attitude. I said to the countries, I'm not going to protect you unless you pay. And they started paying. And that amounted to more than $600 billion. That's a big thing. Otherwise, they wouldn't even be fighting. They wouldn't have any money to fight. If they're paying their bills, and if I think they're doing they're treating us fairly, the answer is absolutely, I'd stay with NATO.
Folks, you understand the difference? By the way, do we have a hiccup with Rumble? Tell us in the chat. Was there a little issue with Rumble before in the reload? I just want to check it. You guys in the chat are invaluable for instant feedback. I just want to let Rumble know if there were. That's the only reason. Because our counter's a little low today. We're typically way ahead, especially on a Monday with a show like this. Folks, I hope I explained that well before. This is the difference between Donald Trump and the expert class. He doesn't care about your historically wrong opinions because you have an Ivy League degree and you say, well, NATO is valuable. He asks a simple question. It's the same question Pete's going to ask about why we should go and intervene in Syria and elsewhere. What's the question again? Why? Okay, that was an issue. Okay, thank you. Now I know why. Why? Why are we doing it? Donald Trump is saying, why the hell are we paying for the world's defense if the world doesn't want to pay for its own defense? Nobody else is asking that question. Here are so-called experts, right? The media wants you to believe they're experts. That's what they tell you, right? We're going to give you the facts. We're experts. We're going to analyze it and trust our opinion. Here is the scumbag Washington Post, one of the shittiest outlets in the media, the most biased, disgusting stuff you're ever going to read. So, of course, they're trying to attack Pete Hegseth again. They're the experts. So John Hassan points this out. This is great. He says, when Joe Biden awarded the Bronze Star to an intelligence analyst, the Washington Post called the Bronze Star, quote, one of the Army's most prestigious awards. But when Pete Hegseth earns 2 of them, the Washington Post says, actually, Bronze Star, they're pretty common. It's just different for some people he knows. Here, you could see it yourself. Here's Joe Biden. They give one of their own. They give one of they give not one of our own. I don't know the case there. I just want to be clear. When the Washington Post thinks it's a Biden award on someone who's very heroic, but it's a prestigious award. And then you flip over to Pete, totally different. It's pretty common. People hand them out all the time. Folks, these people are full of shit. They are the enemies of truth. Stuart, I know you're watching again. Stuart Thompson from the New York Times, who marvels at the fact that we spend so much time condemning left-wing bullshit. The reason it's important is because people like Stuart, the New York Times, and the Washington Post are freaking liars. And we point it out every single time, and they just can't accept that what we're saying is true. Take the sandwich we gave you and eat it. It's your own words from your own left-wingers. I want you to watch this. This is what I'm talking about, by how the left has completely gaslit America and got them to believe things with their media little surrogate and bullhorn people. This is how they've gotten America to believe things that just aren't true. That the experts should dictate the economy, national security policy, all this stuff. When the experts continually get stuff wrong, I want you to watch this CNN segment. It's a Scott Jennings segment on CNN, but I think it's Abby Phillips. She seems genuinely stunned that Kash Patel is going to go out and call out corruption in the FBI, despite the corruption being documented. Everybody knows the FBI made up the collusion hoax in conjunction with the Hillary Clinton campaign. Everyone with a functioning brain. You don't have to be an expert. Everybody knows the FBI was spying on American citizens. They admitted to it. Everybody knows about the FBI scandal with the MAGA hats, the Moms for Liberty, the pro-lifers. And here's CNN acting just completely stunned that, you guys only believe the FBI is corrupt because people talk about FBI corruption. What kind of stupid-ass logic is that? Watch this.
We'll just point out two things. One, politically, Patel, to me right now, has a lot of support in the Senate. I think a lot of these nominees, some are in trouble. I don't think he is right now. I mean, he's going to obviously have to go to the table and answer questions just like everybody else, but there's enthusiasm for him. 10 years ago, the FBI had a 59% approval rating. Today, it's like 41%.
Folks, you cut that off too soon. They're stunned. You got to get the Abby Phillips response to there. Jim, cut that for the radio. The Abby Phillips response, I may have sent the wrong time marker. She's like, oh my gosh, this is just like election denying. You guys are suggesting that the FBI is corrupt, so the public believes the FBI is corrupt. No, the public believes the FBI is corrupt because of how I opened up the show. Because you, people with influence and followings on social media, have shown everyone that the FBI and the upper levels of it is in fact corrupt. I'm really sorry you in the media can't take it. I mean, you're supposed to be on the side of facts. Let me play this one more before the break. I want to play this one too because it's important. The Rachel Maddow one. To show you how left-wingers are full of shit. We don't have this problem. You tell me national debt, the national debt's an issue, I tell you I agree. But Republicans do it too. I don't care. It's still wrong. The left has no ability to do this at all. Here's a side-by-side hat tip the great Maze Moore of Rachel Maddow. One of the biggest bullshitter, liar, frauds. She's a Rhodes Scholar, folks. She's an expert. She's a dumbass and a liar and a phony and a fraud. Here she is on her show talking about Donald Trump potentially pardoning people in his family. And she's like apoplectic about how horrible it is. So much so she's like ready to cry. She needs to go to a break. And then you're going to hear after that, Rachel Maddow feeling slightly differently about Joe Biden actually pardoning his own son for crimes I believe Joe Biden was involved in. Watch this.
President Trump, as he winds down his last few weeks in office, is considering preemptive pardons for all his adult children, including his son-in-law, Jared. What a mess. More as we know. Cue all the hand-wringing and gnashing of teeth today about a president using his power, his pardon power, his powers as president, to do something for a family member. Tell me more about how outraged we all are about President Biden's pardon for his son.
You know, folks, you would think these people would seriously have some shred of human dignity and integrity. She doesn't care. She doesn't care that she looks like an asshole. It doesn't matter. No, she legit doesn't care. She's a commie. They abuse power. They're into hierarchy, and they don't care about hypocrisy. We're in charge. You're not. We're going to abuse power. And when you're in charge, we're going to attack you to abuse power. I just want you to know these people are disgusting. And this is why Stewart and these other people out there are so intimidated that this is the #1 live stream in the world right now for politics, and they're not. Because they can't continue to lie to you because they're not a source of information anymore. I got another one coming up. Karine Jean-Pierre totally nailed on the pardon thing. You told us over and over, conclusively, there will be no pardon, period. I've already addressed it, done, it's never going to happen. Now what happened? Watch your response like nothing happened. Hierarchy. Commies believe in hierarchy. They don't care about looking like hypocrites at all. Folks, the world's on edge right now. We got to train. The media is stoking all kinds of animosity. You're seeing the weaponization of the legal system and political instability. You have no idea what's coming next, so you got to train. Train with iTarget Pro like I do. It uses a laser round and an app so you can practice safely with your actual weapon in the privacy and convenience of your own house. iTarget Pro comes in most calibers from 9mm to .223, so you can train with almost any firearm. That's why competitive shooters, military, and police rely on dry fire drills as part of their training. Folks, I use it because I like to practice my sight alignment, my sight picture, and my grip, and I don't have a lot of time to get to the range. iTarget Pro will save you a ton of money on ammo and range fees, allowing you to practice anytime you want and more efficiently. Go to trainwithbongino.com. Save 10% plus get free shipping on your iTarget Pro system. Don't get fooled by knockoffs. Get the original dry fire training system at trainwithbongino.com. Train safe, train smart, train with iTarget. That's trainwithbongino.com. Trainwithbongino.com. Highly recommend that system. And our last sponsor today, Omaha Steaks. Nothing delivers comfort and joy quite like the unrivaled quality and taste of Omaha Steaks. It's guaranteed perfection in every single bite. Right now, You can save on unforgettable gifts with 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, score an extra $30 off with promo code Bongino. With 5 generations of experience, they consistently deliver the world's best steak experience, and the gifting experts at Omaha Steaks have made it easy to deliver the perfect gift with thoughtfully curated gift packages featuring gourmet favorites. Paul and I are planning to send some Omaha Steaks to our family for the holidays. We're stocking up ourselves for all the entertaining we have planned between my birthday and the new year. Be a lot of food consumed at the Bongino House. We're ready. From their legendary steaks to their perfectly sized desserts, save 50% off site-wide for a limited time at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $30 off with promo code Bongino. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com, OMAHA, and an extra $30 off with promo code Bongino. Minimum purchase may apply. Thanks, Omaha Steaks. We appreciate it. Here, watch this. This is more additional proof that you need to understand your political opponents. The show is edutainment, right? At the Boogie Down Productions. Educational entertainment. If you don't understand their tactics, that hierarchy matters to them, that the only way to beat the left is to take them off the political power pedestal. That's it. They don't care about being exposed. The reason we expose the hypocrisy is for the third party listening, the independents who are coming over to our side. It's not for them. The commies can only be defeated by removing them from power, period. Karine Jean-Pierre is a perfect example right here. Ed O'Keefe, who's a left-leaning guy, I have no doubt. But he asked her a pretty simple question. Hey, man, basically, why'd you lie to us about the Hunter Biden thing? I just want you to watch the spin, and I want you to see here. See if you sense a second of embarrassment at all, because I don't. Check this out.
When you're standing there at the lectern, you are White House Press Secretary speaking on behalf of the president, conveying his thoughts and views of the administration. And it's for that reason that you said on his behalf all those times that he had no plans to do what he did on Sunday. Has he expressed any regret to you directly, personally, for having put you in this position and now having to go back?
Look, I understand this question, and you started off, I think the way you started off the question is basically how I feel, right? And I think all of us who work in this administration, I work for the president, I speak for the president, I comment on behalf of what he feels and thinks, and that's my job. That's my job as the press secretary, the White House press secretary, the person who speaks on behalf of the President of the United States. And that's how I feel.
Folks, there's not a shred of embarrassment there at all. Hey, we have breaking news. This is a live podcast, as you know, 11:36 Eastern time. Folks, this is huge. So Daniel Penny, the Subway hero, not guilty. Excellent. Folks, this is a victory for justice. Luckily, I had a segment prepared. I did not think we were going to... You guys are getting ready to... I thought you were getting ready to put like the fire thing going behind this or something like that. This is a huge moment. Now, the left-wing media will go crazy. Why? Does anybody know why the left-wing media will go crazy? Because the left-wing media wants to stoke animosity and racial division and doesn't give a shit if violence breaks out at all, because they like to use violence to stoke animosity, to build political capital, to get power so that they can be on top in their hierarchy. Alex Berenson pointed this out this weekend. Here's the New Yorker, a communist shithole rag, referring to the Daniel Penny case. That it happened, the subway dancer was strangled by the ex-Marine, subway dancer, as if he was out there, doing some kind of flamenco dance or whatever. Folks, the facts are clear. He was threatening people on the actual train. Did you actually pay attention to the case? Now, there are people out there who are going to stoke violence left and right. Folks, I'm warning you right now, be very careful. There are people out there who want to stoke violence or, at a minimum, stoke animosity and division. One of these division agents is this guy who is one of the biggest grifter losers I've ever seen. This guy, Hawk, he was an old BLM activist. These people do nothing but stoke division. They want to make this a racial thing. It has nothing to do with race. If you don't threaten people's lives on the subway, they won't have to defend themselves against you threatening their lives. This isn't really hard. Hat Tip lives at TikTok. I pulled this off her account. Here is this guy, Hawk. You've probably seen him before. I'm very familiar with him. I'll show you why in a minute. But here's this guy outside of the courtroom last week. Notice the division. This is all they do. They grift off division. Watch this.
Racism is still alive and kicking in America. There's no other way to view this. Everyone has looked at the case. And those among you who say that Daniel Penny is innocent have racism and bias in your heart. If you look at the facts of this case, then you understand that Daniel Penny is guilty. But today, white supremacy got another victory. Today, the KKK, the Klansmen, the evil in America got another victory.
So, Hawk, I remember you well. I just want you to listen to me here, okay? You're disgusting filth. You can go fuck yourself. You're a chump and a coward. And yes, I'm calling you that to your face because I know you're a chump and a coward. Because I know people who know you, and I know you're a chump and a loser and a coward. Me, I'm calling you that right to your face because that's who you are. Matter of fact, you're such a chump and a coward. Out of the kindness in my soul, I invited you on my Fox News show once, Unfiltered, to explain you being an agent of hate and division and animosity, and then kind of like starting a fire and running away with it and being such a chump and a coward. Because you are. You're a chump and a loser. That's who you are. That's who you've always been. I invited him on my show, and he was such a wuss and a loser and a zero. I asked him a simple question on my show. I said, hey, Hawk, this is about 2-3 years ago. I said, man, you condemn street violence. Will you just say that violence is wrong, that you can object to this verdict? I mean, it's a constitutional republic. You don't like the verdict? Fine. But I said to him back then, do you object to street violence? I want you to watch his answer as this wuss, punk, loser, zero, walks off the set because he couldn't answer the question because he's also a moron. Check this out.
Do you condemn riots and burning down buildings after a police use of force incident you don't like?
No, what I'll say is I understand when a police officer unjustifiably kills someone, why people lash out. I understand that completely.
I didn't ask. Why can't you answer the question?
I'm not going to condemn.
You can't answer the
nor
question.
am I going to condone it. Now, see, here's the thing.
Isn't that cowardly?
When Osama bin Laden and those terrorists attacked the United States of America, can you let me talk?
Man.
You have a show. You talk as much as you want.
You seem to talk a lot of junk, and then when I put you on the spot, you won't answer a damn question. Do you condone violence?
I'm answering the question.
Or do you condemn
I'm
violence?
answering
You're
the
all
question.
Over the place.
Well,
Just
I'm answering
condemn
the
violence
question.
and burning of buildings down. How hard is this?
Okay, so when Osama bin Laden attacked the World Trade Center, did you say America should deal with it peacefully?
You're not answering the question, man.
I'm posing questions to you.
That has nothing to do
with
people burning down businesses in New York City. You're not going to answer the question, Hawk, but listen.
Wait, okay, I'll give you this. I'll give you this. I don't condone it. I don't promote it, but I will not condemn it.
Yeah, that's just cowardly, man. That's just cowardly.
No, you're a coward.
Stand for something.
You know what?
Yeah.
You see, you're trying to bait me. God bless you, man. I'm out of here.
Nope.
God bless.
Yeah. You are out of here. You're right.
Yeah, you were out of there, loser. Fucking zero. But, folks, I've seen guys like this my whole life. I'm not going to get into why or how. They don't need story. Look, be a karate guy, whatever. It's all bullshit. Who cares? I'm telling you something for a fact. I've seen these people my entire life. These fake tough guys, these, wannabe like I'm down losers. This guy is a tier 1 level chump and a coward who would back down from a one-on-one fight in a second if he didn't have 20 guys behind him. Guaranteed. He goes out there and grifts in front of the camera and starts talking about you being a white supremacist and all that stuff because he knows left-wing media losers will eat it up. Meanwhile, Hawk Newsom be the first guy on that train car if the Neely guy was threatening people to do nothing to protect the women and kids in the car. He'd be the first guy backing out of the car. And then if you called him out, he'd be the first guy to probably sue you later on. Losers. Daniel Penny, not guilty. And by the way, Hawk, learn the legal system. If you think he's I don't think anybody's innocent of anything. There's no innocent legal standard. Wake up, dumbass. It's guilty or not guilty. Nobody's innocent of anything. He's not innocent. That it happened. The guy died. He is not guilty, meaning there is no legal consequence for him for engaging in an act of self-protection. Wake up, dumbass. Read a book once in a while, you freaking moron. Stop being stupid every single day. And let me give you a little lesson here, and for Stewart as well. This is really easy. Stewart, Hawk, you should ask me, do you condemn violence? If Daniel Penny was declared guilty, would you recommend violence? Hell to the... No, we wouldn't. We condemn it in each and every circumstance unless it's self-defense or some legally protected class where you're allowed to defend yourself. This is not hard. It's only hard for morons in the media and people like Hawk who lie to you all the time. The guy's a chump, and so are all these other zeros in the media trying to paint for you a gaslit reality of a world that doesn't exist. This is why we have all these problems as a country. Why you believe police are hunting down black men in the streets because of people like Hawk and others. Why you believe the rich don't pay their fair share. Why you believe the border's secure. Why you believe things like school choice steals money from public schools. Why you believe things like crime is down. None of that shit is true. None of it. You believe it because the media morons tell you it and you're too dumb on the left to do your own homework. There's this great video clip by Mike Schellenberger, an actual journalist. I don't know his politics. I don't care. There's only about a minute of it. The first 30 seconds or so, he goes into the whole collusion hoax, and we already know about that, how the media believes stuff. But here's about another minute on all of the BS. The media told you that only morons on the left ate up and basically digested this stuff, and they believe it's total bullshit. You could go do a modicum of homework and figure it out yourself. They just don't want to. Check this out.
The media actively created the Russiagate hoax alongside the Democratic Party and the United States intelligence community. Hillary Clinton's campaign and CIA Director John Brennan created the Russiagate hoax in 2016, claiming falsely that the Russians favored Trump over Clinton, that the Russians got Trump elected, and that the Russians controlled Trump through a sex blackmail operation. The media spread COVID vaccine disinformation with the financing of the pharmaceutical companies and the help of Democratic operatives in the White House and other executive branch agencies. Together, they claimed that the vaccine would prevent infection and transmission, had no side effects to worry about, and that anybody who said differently should be censored. The media participated in the Democrats' big lie that Joe Biden was in perfect mental and cognitive health.
Folks, I need you to be really cautious in these coming days. Man, we do not need another series of George Floyd-like riots because the media environment Schellenberger just accurately and appropriately describes, a bunch of lying scumbags, is now going to go out there today and say, vigilantism is back. None of that happened. A guy on the subway threatened a bunch of people, and another guy who is now legally not guilty, Daniel Penny, injected himself at his own peril into a situation where he could have gotten hurt really badly and defended other people. That's what happened. You have to understand that the media, the left-wing media, people like Hawk and these other losers that have lied to you about this, if you follow the money, you will figure out they did it for a very simple reason. Left-wing agitators need media megaphones out there to stir shit up in the street because they use this political violence in the street for my chaos theory. You ever hear my chaos Walking Dead theory? You ever see the show The Walking Dead about the zombies? Officer Rick and the human survivors, they go and they live in a prison because they're safe from the zombies on the outside. Who walks into a prison voluntarily? You want the answer? People who are afraid of what's on the outside. The left needs you terrified. They need you always suckling on the teat of government. Government's going to come and save you. And one of the ways they do that is by making it appear that when the Republicans, conservatives, the MAGA people, and the libertarians are in charge, that there's such chaos that you should forfeit away your liberty to them and that they'll protect you against the evil people on the right. But you've got to believe the evil people on the right are evil. And the only reason you'll believe that is if the left-wing narrative persists. Those righties, they support the cops. The cops are hunting black men in the streets, shooting them down randomly. They profit off this stuff, and they isolate you from the truth. They don't let you see the truth. When that Harvard study, we said Roland Fryer came out about police interactions that completely debunked this ridiculous hunting black men in the street narrative now that I promise they're going to use with this Jordan Neely case now that Penny's not guilty. You think that got a bunch of mainstream media coverage? You probably never heard about it till now. It's a lie, man. They isolate you from the truth. Here is conclusive evidence, again, of exactly how the media cordons off the truth. So if you're a left-wing moron, you never get the other side of the story. Here's the great Catherine Herridge. She's on News Nation. She's an actual reporter. Don't know her politics. Don't give a damn. Here she is on News Nation talking about how she scored this huge interview with Elon Musk when the Twitter files came out, talking about all the censorship on Twitter. Remember when the files dropped? I was in those. So sensitive topic to me. She scores a huge interview. You would think CBS would be all over this. Oh, no. She says here CBS turned it down because they were unsure what Elon Musk was going to say. Oh, no, that's not it. I get what she's doing there, but that's not it at all. They were afraid Elon Musk would tell the truth. And if you're going to gaslight people into believing bullshit, then you can't ever have the truth get out there. Check this out.
Yeah, so just to set the stage, it was the fall of 2023. I had tried to enterprise a story that would bring the Twitter files to CBS News. It didn't get as far as I had hoped, but an interview opportunity developed with Elon Musk, and the offer was to do a live interview with him on X. So I took that opportunity to the CBS News executives. And they said, we just can't do it live. And I was like, what do you mean we can't do it live? And they said, well, we don't know what he's going to say. And I was like, wait a second. Isn't that what journalism is all about?
They don't care that you will never be exposed to the alternate truth because the lie works for them. Follow the money. What do you mean follow the money? These media entities now at the New York Times and Washington Post, MSNBC and CNN, they're telling people a story, not this story. Why? Because a story appeals to them. Republicans are evil, fascist, Nazis. That's it. They can't accept that they're the bad guy. They can't. That they supported left-wing Twitter before Elon bought it and that it actively engaged in fascist-style censorship. They can't accept it. So they just don't want to know the truth. They can't accept it. The black men are being hunted by cops narrative. There is money in telling people it's not the Democrats running these cities into the ground and destroying the lives of black men and women in these cities run by Democrats. It's the evil white man who supports the cop. That none of that's true doesn't matter. They don't want the truth at all. And either do the swampy Republicans. Here, this clip of Tim Walz is a perfect example. Remember Tampon Tim? He'll be forgotten about in a year. No one will even remember this guy, just like Tim Kaine, who ran with Hillary Clinton as a vice presidential nominee. You probably don't even remember that, right? Here's Tim Walz, ran with Kamala Harris, easily the worst vice presidential selection on a ticket we've seen in modern times. Wants tampons in the boys' room. I mean, what the hell are they going to do? I mean, what the hell is a tampon going to do? But Tampon Tim seems to have an answer. Here he is in one of his first interviews here, talking about why they lost. And this is a perfect example of a man who is living in this Truman Show-like bubble, who is so gaslit himself. I promise you, he actually believes this. Here he is talking about how Donald Trump, one of the first Republicans in decades to go to the Bronx, to go to Madison Square Garden in the heart of liberal New York City, to go out to liberal areas and say, hey, man, I'm here for you. A guy who, you want to talk about real inclusion? Donald Trump, who got a record number for a Republican of black male voters. You would think Tim Walz would say, hey, we did something wrong. Nope. In his version of it, you did, because he knows better than you do. And you guys just don't want inclusion or any of that stuff because you did it. Oh, yeah, this happened. Check this out.
I think we're going to have to understand what type of leadership do they want. We were pledging to be inclusive. We were pledging to bring people in. Donald Trump has said that that isn't what he wants. And so if that's what America's leaning towards, I guess for me, it's to understand and learn more about America, because I thought that they were going to probably move towards a more positive message.
He doesn't want to learn about America, folks. He doesn't care. He cares about hierarchy. He now doesn't have power, and he doesn't know where to find the copium to drink. He's out of copium. He can't find it. King of the tampon. Put it up in the chat. Put it up in the chat. Hey, by the way, just addressing, I know with the Rumble issue, folks, it is not us. I just reached out to Chris, the CEO of Rumble, and he sent me a message that it is an internet backbone issue. It is not us. But again, it's manifesting itself through Rumble, but I promise it is not us. So I apologize either way, even though it's not our because it's our show. But if you're not, it's only certain areas of the country. So some of you who are watching this live with no problems, you have no idea what I'm talking about. But if you're in the area, it's been a bit of an issue. But either way, sorry about the interruption. Make sure if you missed anything, you check it out on VOD. I want to play this one last one to show you what I mean by what it looks like when stupid, smart people, Jake Sullivan, Tim Walz, and others, who cannot accept the limits of their own knowledge, start getting into spaces they have no idea, and they have the pretense of knowledge. Oh, look at me. I'm an astrophysicist. I want to play this clip of Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's on Piers Morgan's show. Again, the guy's a brilliant, was he an astrophysicist or something? Listen to this guy contort himself into knots, trying to explain away how men and women should be able to compete in the same sports, because biologically, it's really no different than weight classes. You realize what kind of a dipshit you have to be to believe in this? Or you could be a liberal who's been gaslit. Check this out.
What I see is sports is on the frontier of how to handle this frontier of people who are trans. It's on the frontier of how to resolve that. And I'm making this up now. Imagine the future of sports does not distinguish sex. It distinguishes and sorts people by hormone ratios. I'm making this up, but imagine that if that were the case. That would be interesting. You get a hormone test, you're in this range, and then you compete against other people with the same range of hormones.
That's ridiculous.
That's
Neil, that is ridiculous.
No, it's not. I'll tell you why it's not ridiculous.
You're going to give every single person in sport a hormone test.
Hold on. I used to wrestle. And wrestling, there are people who weigh, sorry, am I using pounds here, 125 pounds, right on up to 240 pounds. They don't wrestle each other. The entire sport separates people so that the contest is interesting.
I'm done. I can't with this guy. A hormone test. We're all going to do a hormone blood. If your estradiol level's at 52.5, you're going to compete against. You believe this? Is the hormone test going to be by day? Is it going to be by week? Does this guy have any idea how androgens work? And he have any idea at all? Of course he doesn't, because he's a stupid, smart person who has the pretense of knowledge, but not actual knowledge. What a moron.